Have you ever walked away from a conversation feeling confused, questioning your own sanity? Like maybe you're imagining things that aren't really there? If you have, you might have experienced gaslighting, one of the most insidious forms of psychological manipulation that exists. In today's episode of Minds Unmasked, we're diving deep into what gaslighting really is, how it works as a manipulation tactic, and the devastating psychological damage it causes to victims. By the end of this video, you'll understand this toxic pattern and know the warning signs to protect yourself and others. So let's get started. What is gaslighting? Gaslighting is a form of psychological abuse where one person manipulates another into questioning their own perception of reality, memory, and judgment. The term itself comes from a fascinating historical place. In 1938, a British playwright named Patrick Hamilton wrote a play called Gaslight. The story follows a husband who systematically manipulates his wife by dimming the gas lights in their home and then denying that the lights changed at all. When she notices the lights getting dimmer, he tells her she's imagining things, that they're exactly the same. He repeats this lie so convincingly that she begins to doubt her own eyes, her own perception of reality. Fast forward to 1944. When this play was adapted into a Hollywood film starring Ingrid Bergman and Charles Boyer. The film became iconic, earning multiple Academy Award nominations, and the term gaslighting entered our psychological vocabulary. Today, gaslighting has become so prevalent that Merriam-Webster named it their word of the year in 2022. And the statistics are shocking. Research shows that approximately 48% of women and 49% of men have experienced psychological manipulation in their intimate relationships. Among victims of intimate partner violence, nearly 75% of women report experiencing gaslighting. But what exactly makes gaslighting different from just lying or arguing? The key difference is intention and impact. Gaslighting is a calculated, repeated pattern of manipulation designed to make someone doubt their reality so completely that they become dependent on the manipulator to define what's true. The 5 types of gaslighting. Experts have identified 5 main types of gaslighting that manipulators use. Understanding these helps you spot them in real life. Type 1. Outright lying. This is when someone denies something they said or did, even when there's clear evidence. For example, your partner insists they didn't call their ex, yet the phone records show multiple calls. Or a coworker claims they sent you important information, but you never received it, and they can't produce the email. The gaslighter sticks to their lie so firmly that they actually make you question whether you're remembering correctly. Type 2. Coercion. Coercive gaslighting uses manipulation through threats, punishment, or force. This might look like a partner giving you the silent treatment when you spend time with friends, making you feel like you're doing something wrong, or telling you, if you don't do what I want, you're a bad person. It's using your emotions against you to control your behavior. Type 3. Reality questioning, also called reality manipulation. This is especially damaging because it attacks your grasp on what's real. The gaslighter insists you're remembering things wrong, or that an event never happened at all. A parent might tell their child, that traumatic thing you remember from childhood never actually happened. Or they say, you're crazy for thinking that occurred. This type of gaslighting creates the most confusion and self-doubt. Type 4. Scapegoating. Here, the gaslighter blames you for something that's actually their responsibility. Instead of acknowledging their own behavior, they make you feel like you're the problem. Phrases like, this wouldn't have happened if you hadn't provoked me, or I only did this because you made me angry, are classic examples. You end up apologizing and feeling guilty for their actions. Type 5. Trivializing. Trivializing means dismissing and minimizing your feelings or concerns. When you express hurt, they say things like, you're too sensitive, you're overreacting, it was just a joke, or why are you making such a big deal out of nothing? Over time, you start to believe that your feelings actually aren't valid, that you are being too sensitive. These 5 types often work together, creating a web of confusion that makes victims feel isolated, dependent, and unsure of their own mind. How gaslighters use these tactics. So how do gaslighters actually operate? The process usually happens gradually, which makes it incredibly hard to spot. The gaslighting cycle. Gaslighting typically follows a predictable pattern. First, there's tension building. The gaslighter becomes increasingly critical or controlling. Then comes an incident. They do something hurtful, lie about something, or deny an agreement. When confronted, they engage in denial and blame shifting. They'll deny it happened or claim you're remembering it wrong. After the denial comes temporary calm. They might even love bomb you with affection and apologies. But then the cycle repeats, often with escalating intensity. Power dynamics. Gaslighting thrives in environments with power imbalances. This is why it's so common in romantic relationships, parent-child relationships, and workplaces. Someone with authority, financial control, social status, institutional power, can more easily dismiss concerns and enforce their version of events. They might say, "No one else has a problem with me, so maybe you're the issue." Isolation tactics. Gaslighters often isolate their victims from friends and family who might validate their reality. They might criticize your loved ones, make it difficult for you to spend time with them, or spread rumors about you. The more isolated you become, the more dependent you are on the gaslighter to tell you what's real. And when they're the only voice you hear, it's easier to believe them. Weaponizing your insecurities. Gaslighters study what you're vulnerable about and use it against you. If you're insecure about your intelligence, they'll tell you you're stupid. If you worry about being a bad parent, they'll tell you you're failing your kids. They attack your sense of self to keep you off balance and dependent on their approval. Rewriting history. Over time, gaslighters will rewrite past events to suit their narrative. Something that happened months or years ago gets reframed in their version, and they'll insist you agreed to something you never did. Your own history becomes contested territory, and you lose confidence in your memory. Psychological damage. The psychological impact of gaslighting is profound and can be long-lasting. Understanding the damage helps us recognize how serious this form of abuse really is. Loss of self-trust. The most fundamental damage gaslighting causes is the destruction of self-trust. When someone repeatedly tells you that your reality isn't real, you start doubting your judgment about everything. You second-guess your memory constantly. Did that really happen? Am I remembering correctly? This self-doubt spreads beyond the gaslighting relationship into every area of your life. Anxiety and depression. Victims of gaslighting consistently develop anxiety disorders and depression. The constant confusion and self-doubt create a state of hypervigilance, always waiting for the next denial, the next contradiction. Sleep disturbances, intrusive thoughts, and physical symptoms like headaches and digestive issues become common. Identity confusion. Prolonged gaslighting leads to a loss of identity. You lose touch with your own preferences, values, and beliefs. You start asking, "Who am I really?" Your sense of self erodes beneath the constant manipulation. Victims often describe feeling like they've lost themselves completely. Learned helplessness. After repeatedly being told you're wrong, after failed attempts to assert your reality, many victims develop learned helplessness. You stop trying to defend yourself. You stop trusting your instincts. This resignation can persist long after the gaslighting relationship ends, making you vulnerable to manipulation in the future. Isolation and emotional numbness. Gaslighting creates profound isolation. Victims feel alone, dependent, and emotionally unstable. Some describe feeling numb, disconnected from their emotions as a survival mechanism. Others experience emotional dysregulation, struggling to manage feelings appropriately. Complex trauma. In severe cases, gaslighting can lead to post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. Victims may experience flashbacks, hypervigilance, and intrusive memories. The psychological abuse has been severe enough to create genuine trauma responses. Even after leaving the relationship, Many victims struggle with PTSD symptoms for years. The long-term impact. Even after escaping a gaslighting relationship, victims often struggle with trust, both trusting others and trusting themselves. They may enter codependent relationships or have difficulty forming authentic connections. Because gaslighters rarely apologize or admit wrongdoing, victims don't get the closure they need to move forward. Warning signs you're being gaslit. How can you tell if someone is gaslighting you? Here are the key warning signs. Behavioral red flags. They frequently lie, even about small things. They deny saying things you clearly remember them saying. They minimize your feelings. You're too sensitive, or you're overreacting. They shift blame to you for their behavior. They use phrases like, "I was just joking," after saying hurtful things. They criticize the people who support you. They act completely different in public than they do in private. Internal experiences. You constantly doubt your memory and perceptions. You apologize excessively, even for things that aren't your fault. You feel like you're going crazy or emotionally unstable. You feel anxious before interactions with this person. You have a persistent sense that something is wrong but can't identify what you question your own judgment in all areas of life. You feel lonely and trapped, even when surrounded by people. Patterns to notice. Cycles of tension building, an incident occurring, denial, and temporary calm. A stark difference between their public and private behavior. Escalating manipulation when you try to set boundaries. Financial, emotional, or social control. Being blamed for causing their abusive behavior. If you recognize multiple warning signs, trust your instinct. Your gut feeling is often correct about manipulation. Protecting yourself. If you think you're experiencing gaslighting, here are concrete steps you can take. Document everything. Keep detailed records of incidents, conversations, and events. Write down dates, times, and what happened. Save text messages and emails. This documentation helps you validate your experiences when you start to doubt yourself. Seek external validation. Talk to trusted friends, family, or a therapist about what you're experiencing. Ask for their perspective. When you're in the situation, it's hard to see clearly, but people outside the dynamic can often spot manipulation patterns more easily. Set firm boundaries. Clearly communicate what behavior is unacceptable and what consequences will follow. When someone denies something you know happened, you can calmly say, "I remember this differently, and I trust my memory. I'm not going to keep debating it." Avoid circular arguments. Never try to convince a gaslighter that they're wrong. They won't accept it, and you'll just wear yourself out emotionally. State your position clearly, then disengage. Seek professional help. A therapist experienced with emotional abuse can provide validation and help you rebuild your self-trust. Therapy is crucial for recovery. Support groups can also help you feel less alone and provide practical strategies. Consider leaving. If the gaslighting is severe or escalating, leaving the relationship may be necessary for your safety and well-being. Create a safety plan if needed, including important documents and financial resources. Gaslighting is a serious form of psychological abuse that can devastate victims' mental health and sense of self, but awareness is powerful. By understanding what gaslighting is, how it works, and recognizing the warning signs, you protect yourself and help others. If you're experiencing gaslighting, remember, you're not crazy, you're not alone, and recovery is possible with support. If this video helped you understand manipulation better, please like and subscribe for more content on psychology and mental health. Share this video with your friends to spread awareness. Tell us about your own experiences in the comment section. If you have ideas for future videos, feel free to leave a comment with your suggestion down below. This is Minds Unmasked. Like, subscribe, and click the bell. 3 new videos are coming your way every week. Join me. Let us unmask the human mind.